Harshad Shantilal Mehta was born on 29 July 1954. At Paneli Modi, Raikat district, in a Gujarati Jain family. His early childhood was spent in Borivali, where his father was a small-time textile businessman. He did his early study in Janta Public School, Camp 2 Bhilai. A cricket enthusiast, Mehta did not show any special promise in school, and came to Mumbai after his schooling for studies and to find work. Mehta completed his B.Com in 1976 from Lala Lajpat Rai College, Bombay, and worked a number of odd jobs for the next 8 years. Jobs that are frequently related to sales include selling hosiery, cement, and diamond sorting. Mehta began his career as a salesperson in New India Assurance Company Limited's Mumbai office, NIACL. During this time, he became interested in the stock market, and resigned after a few days to join a brokerage firm. He moved to a lower-level clerical job at the brokerage firm Harjavandas Namitas Securities in the early 1980s, where he worked as a jobber for the broker Prasanth Pranjavandas broker, whom he considered his guru, over a period of 10 years, beginning 1980. He served in positions of increasing responsibility at a series of brokerage firms. By 1990, he had risen to a position of prominence in the Indian securities industry, with the media, including popular magazines such as Business Today, touting him as Amitabh Bachchan of the stock market. When the BSE auctioned off a broker's card, Grow More Research and Asset Management stepped in with financial assistance from associates. He began actively trading in 1986. By early 1990, a number of prominent people had begun to invest in and use his firm's services. He began trading heavily in Associated Cement Company shares around this time, ACC. The price of cement company shares eventually rose from 200 to nearly 9,000 due to a massive wave of buying from a group of brokers, including Mehta. Mehta justified this excessive trading in ACC shares by stating that the stock had been undervalued, and that the market had simply corrected when it revalued the company at a price equivalent to the cost of building a similar enterprise. The so-called replacement cost theory that he had put forward. During this period, especially in 1990-1991, the media portrayed a heightened deified image of Mehta, calling him the Big Bull. He was covered in a cover-page article of a number of publications, including the popular economic magazine Business Today, in an article titled, Raging Bull. His flashy lifestyle of a sea-facing 15,000 square feet penthouse in the Tony area of Worli, complete with a mini golf course and swimming pool, and his fleet of cars including a Toyota Corolla, Lexus LS 400, and Toyota Sera were flashed in publications. These further exemplified his image at a time when these were rarities even for the rich people of India. The bank receipt was another important tool. In a ready-forward transaction, securities were not actually moved back and forth. Instead, the borrower, or seller of securities, issued a BR to the buyer of securities. The BR serves as a receipt from the selling bank and also guarantees that the buyer will receive the securities for which they have paid at the end of the terms. After determining this, Mehta required banks that could issue fake BRs or BRs not backed by any government securities. Once these fake BRs were issued, they were passed on to other banks and the banks in turn gave money to Mehta, plainly assuming that they were lending against government securities when this was not really the case. He took the price of ACC from 200 rupees to 9,000 rupees, an increase of 4,400%. Since he had to book profits in the end, the day he sold was the day when the markets crashed. This went on as long as the stock prices rose, and no one knew about Mehta's operations. Once the fraud was exposed, though, many banks were left holding worthless BRs. The banking system had been swindled out of a whopping 40 billion rupees, equivalent to 260 billion rupees or $3.3 billion United States dollars in 2020. He was on trial for 9 years, until he died at the end of 2001 from a sudden heart attack. Of the 27 criminal charges brought against Mehta, he was only convicted of 4, before his death. The scandal exposed the loopholes in the Indian banking system, and the Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE, transaction system, and consequently the SEBI introduced new rules to cover those loopholes.